Princess Leia, Part 2. Before the destruction of their ultimate weapon, the evil Galactic Empire forced Princess Leia Organa to watch as they extinguished the only planet she's ever called home. However, the time for mourning is over. With her only companion, Evan, as well as the ever-faithful R2-D2 by her side, Leia has left the protection of the Rebel Alliance to pursue a more personal mission to protect what's left of her culture and home planet, Alderaan. The rumors that the Empire is hunting every last Alderaanian for reprisal against the Alliance's action have sparked a fire within the princess. Despite the overwhelming bounty on Leia's head, she has taken it upon herself to travel the galaxy to save what citizens remain.
Hey Web World, Scotty D, thanks for stopping by to another video here in my comic book series on my channel. You want to watch the rest of the video series? Well, it's real simple to do so. All you have to do is go on over to my main YouTube channel page. Click on playlist, then click on comic book collecting. It's that simple. You want to write me an email? It's equally as simple. All you have to do is drop a line to scott@scottydonline.com. And if you want to follow me over on Twitter, I do things there from time to time. It's @ScottyDonline over on Twitter. Now, today we are going to be talking about this comic right here. This is Princess Leia number 2. The book is written by Mark Waid, the artwork by Terry and Rachel Dodson, and color by Jordi Bellari. And I love this cover. Take a look at this cover. Just take it in for a second. And you know, I'm not one that always just gets hung up on cover art, but this one certainly is one of my favorites in a long time as a standard cover. There were variant covers for this issue, but this one happens to stand out and take the cake for me. I think it's because of R2-D2 right here. And I mean, Leia looks good on it. And this character right here, we met on the last book. We'll talk about her in just a second. But overall, just a really cool cover. And when we left off from book number 1, Leia, R2, and Evan, that's her, were outrunning the X-Wings on a personal mission set out by Leia to go out and save all of the remaining Alderaanians that survived and were off of the planet Alderaan when it was exploded by the Death Star. And we pick up the story in the galley of their spaceship, and Leia is eating while Evan patiently watches, because if you remember from book 1, Evan realizes the royalty that Leia is. And Leia says, hey, look, I just want you to stop worrying about who I am, what my title is, and just sit down and enjoy the meal with me. And during the meal, this is where I think it's very interesting. Leia has a flashback to her childhood days, and her father is speaking to her about the meal. And of course, the rebellious childhood of Leia resisting the meal, just like she and just about every other kid does when they are fed something that they don't like. They rebel against the meal. And her father gives her the speech that we've all heard ourselves, be grateful, be thankful. There are other kids that could be having this meal, but you have it, and be eating it because it's going to make you strong and healthy. It's kind of a quirky, comical little line in there. Like, really? We're going to give parental advice in a comic book? I just thought that was a little fun to read in there. And she continues to dream about her father, and she snaps out of it just for a brief second, then finding her back into the daydream in a training session with gauntlets on and getting ready for battle as a young girl. And we see, even as a young girl, Leia loved the bun hairstyle that we are so familiar with in the sequels. The Cinnabon, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, but it's interesting that, you think maybe it's just something she picked up later on in life, but no, she's been doing this apparently since she was a little girl. And Bail Organa makes his appearance in this book, and they did a fairly good job, in my opinion, with his likeness and the artwork of this book. And then the flashback continues with some words of direction from Leia's father to her, by which she snaps out of the vision and reflects back on that directive from her father, and that she has failed that directive. And then there's a quick cutscene to a club that is very reminiscent of like a 1970s disco. It's Club Deja, in Karen, or Karen. It's a city on Naboo, and to my recollection, this is the first time we've seen or heard about Naboo since the prequels. And I found this cutscene to feel very weird and sort of reflective of what we may have seen in the EU, but in a humorous way as they discuss live music versus holographic streaming of a band. Sort of like the same argument that a lot of audiophiles do today. You know, albums are going to be good. MP3s suck. Compression sucks. The loudness wars. You know, streaming music sucks versus having the media with you. I thought that was kind of interesting that they threw that into the story, because we see that same type of discussions happening in today's world versus the fantasy world of Star Wars. And we get introduced to a female character named Paris. And I want you to remember this character as the story unfolds, not only in this book, but also in the books to come, because this is book 2. This is supposed to go up to book 5 before the series stops. And she says she's betraying everything that she's known. That's the quote from Perrine. And just then, Leia, Evan, and R2 arrive at Naboo, and of course they have to mask their identity because of the secrecy of the mission that Leia is set out to do. And the strange moment is while they're walking, there is what appears to be a statue, a woman. I'm not quite sure what exactly it is, but it resembles almost spot on for Queen Amidala. And Leia is kind of taken back, like it looks like that woman is looking at me. And I thought that was kind of interesting to have in the story, given that we think, or we have been perceived, that Amidala dies during the birth of Leia and Luke, but there is now a woman on Naboo that looks a lot like Amidala. Yeah. Go figure that one out. If you know what happens or why that's there, that lady is there who resembles Amidala, I'd love to know your comments. Comment below, and we can engage in some great conversation. Then we meet another new character in the story, Lord Jun, and we find out Evan's last name, Verlaine. That's Verlaine. Verlaine is Evan's last name. So I'm not sure why they're releasing last names of the characters, but I think that's interesting to kind of hold on for right now in your back hip pocket, because we might want to reflect back on that as the story progresses, or even any other Star Wars comic books that are being released now by Marvel. Now, there's an obvious uncomfortable and suspicious feeling from Evan, as she should be. Don't forget about the bounty on Leia that is out on for the Galactic Empire to go find Leia and bring her in. So rightfully so, Evan is skeptical on everything that's happening. She's suspicious on everything that's happening. She's not been comfortable with this mission from the very beginning, so we'll have to see how that plays out. And Lord Jun tells Leia to go to the Club Deja that we talked about at the very beginning, as we had that flash cutscene to Naboo. And we get another character's name here, Mul Sanaka, who is the club owner. And it's obvious that the destruction of Alderaan isn't widely known at this point in the storyline, and some are still wanting to communicate with their family members back home. And that's the dead giveaway, that the word has not been kind of widely spread of what the Death Star did to Alderaan. So I thought that was kind of interesting, because you would think that message was very fast known to the galaxy, but it's not. Apparently on Naboo, a lot of people are disconnected, if you will. Now, this section of the book is full of cutscenes, so read carefully and pay attention, or you might get lost. And I found it very interesting that Leia uses the secret identity First Minister Solo when we see her meeting the club security upon arrival. And we know that she and Han will eventually be married in episode 7. They have a daughter. But I think it's very interesting that she uses Solo as her name in her hidden identity. Just a little weird there. Remember Paris. She's back in this scene as Leia is making her entrance into the club. And she's very curious as Leia talks to the guard using her fake identity of First Minister Solo, and she's eavesdropping in the entire conversation. And then she's on to Leia. She's caught on that this isn't who Leia's faking to be. She knows that it's the princess, and she's really locked in to what's happening now. And I want you to pay close attention to Paris as we go through the rest of the story. And of course, the entire club scene is a trap. It's a trap. I had to say that. Don't give me a hard time. I'll let you read the comic to see what happens here. But it's suffice to say that it's a lot of fast-moving art action cells. And while Paris helps, she's obviously disturbed greatly by something. And Leia makes an announcement on a stage that Alderaan is gone, and she's here to save the day, which is very similar to how we remember when Han and Luke rescued her from her cell when they were Luke and Han were saying, "I'm here to save you," right? You know, remember when Luke said that to her? It was very reminiscent of that in the scene. So I was kind of taken back to Episode 4, A New Hope, in that cell block scene with Leia and Luke and Han. So now the book starts to wrap up with Leia meeting up with Mol Sanaka, who, remember, is the club owner, and she's very eager to find out how her cover has been blown. So, how did he know? You'll find out in the story when you read it. But it's interesting that her cover was blown on a secret mission before she even got there by one simple thing. Keep your eye out for that one. The identity of Mol is more than meets the eye. I'm just going to leave that for you. That pay close attention to Mol. I think that there's a lot going to happen with this particular character because of what he does next in the storyline. And Leia makes plans to leave the planet differently than she came, and then they head out to the Solus system, which is on the Outer Rim, and we see a young female on a videocom with another female. One of the females' name is Tula, and Tula states that the young girl, Tula is the young girl, and she must serve the princess. That's what the other girl on the other side of the comm is telling the young girl. Tula is on one side, the young girl is on the other. Tula is telling the young girl, you must serve the princess in any way, shape, or form. And I want you to keep me updated on every move that you make, which was really weird until you get to the last cell of the comic book. And Tula is then shown in an Imperial uniform surrounded by stormtroopers. Very, very strange. I thought that was like, wow, this is a major setup. Leia is doomed on this mission, but we're going to have to wait for book number 3, which is set to hit the stands April 15th, 2015. Kind of an interesting comic, I've got to tell you. For this one, I really enjoyed the fact that it didn't stay with what we would normally expect in a Star Wars story. We see that adventure of Leia that we were hoping to get post A New Hope, and we're seeing her go off and do this mission and encounter some new characters and new challenges along the way. And then how the book wrapped up was like a wow. And I like the fact that it said to be continued, which means that book number 3 on April the 15th should be immediately kicking off from the last scene. That's what I'm hoping. So, this is Princess Leia number 2. Definitely get this mini-series in your pull list from your LCS. And for that matter, get all of the brand new comic book series from Marvel in the Star Wars universe, because the Star Wars one is great. The Darth Vader is great. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the Leia one, but transitioning from book 1 to book 2, I'm really getting excited about the story, and I'm curious in the next 3 books before they wrap up where they're going to take this story. Very, very curious on that one. So, comment below. I'd love to see your comments. Don't forget to like this video. If you do like it, please share this video with somebody else that you know that might be a Star Wars fan. And of course, if you already are subscribed to my channel, thank you so very much. If you're not subscribed yet, please do click that subscribe button. And if you've ever wanted to become more than a channel subscriber, then you could become a channel patron. Go on over to patreon.com/ScottyDOnline. I'm so happy I got my first patron this past week. Somebody took the time to become a patron. They believe in me. They appreciate what I'm bringing on this channel more than just being a channel subscriber. So thank you so much. You are now part of the Techertainment Elite. You know who you are. I've commented directly to you. I've communicated directly to you. There are some perks and rewards in becoming a patron. So we're going to go on over to patreon.com/ScottyDOnline, see what the campaign is all about. And if you do feel so compelled afterwards to get involved, I thank you very much for your support. If you want to write me an email, scott@ScottyDOnline.com. The Twitter account is @ScottyDOnline. And if you want to watch any of the other videos in this series, just like I said at the very beginning of this video, go on over to my main YouTube channel page. Click on Playlist, then click on Comic Book Collecting, and all of the videos are right there. So until the next video in the series or any other video here on my channel, thanks for watching. Take care, be good to each other, and may the Force be with you.